Today on BRStv 52 FAQ, we're talking cycling your tanks and filtration media. Hi, I'm Ryan, your host of the BRStv 52 FAQ, where each week we answer some of your most common questions. This week we're answering Charlie Mullin's question from week 13. When cycling a new tank, should I be running all of my filter media or should I exclude some types of media? This is a good question because starting a tank properly can be the solution to avoiding all kinds of new tank issues like algae outbreaks, smell, or an unstable cycle. I think there are some filtration medias you can strongly consider avoiding and others which might be supportive or okay. The four most popular medias would be biological media like MarinePure, activated carbon, GFO, and filtration medias like zeolites. First one being biological filtration media like that MarinePure is certainly okay to start a tank with. The biggest concern here is not messing with the cycle, which processes toxic ammonia into safer nitrate. So I wouldn't put any type of biological media in the tank you don't plan on leaving in there for a significant period of time. You just don't want the beneficial bacteria to colonize the filtration media if you plan on removing it for some reason, which of course would impact your tank's ability to process ammonia properly. Moving on to number 2 in carbon, this is used on new tanks to remove color pigments, odors, and other common contaminants with new tanks. However, this is way more commonly used during the rock curing process than the actual cycle. The cure is when you soak the rock to get rid of many of the undesirable nutrients and organics. If you want to get real deep into the difference between curing and cycling, check out week 13, Ammonia, Not as Simple as You Think, the Ideal Tank Cycle. During the cycle, I actually strongly recommend against the use of carbon because carbon has a network of tiny, well-oxygenated pores which can easily support the dominant colony of beneficial bacteria. And when you inevitably remove the carbon, it could potentially destabilize the tank's natural cycle. Well, it's not likely going to crash the tank or anything drastic like that. I do think it's a wise decision to begin carbon use well after the cycle is completed. That leads us into number 3 in GFO. GFO is used to reduce phosphate and fight algae, which is common to new tanks. However, just like carbon, I'd probably avoid using it during the initial cycle because it could potentially form the dominant bacteria colony. Now, a lot of people use GFO with new tanks to avoid algae from the beginning, and I still support that, particularly with newer reefers, which are not as highly skilled or trained at combating algae with other methods and practices. However, I think the best way to do that is to properly cure the rock so the tank isn't starting the cycle with any nutrients, and then cycle the tank with no light so the nutrients from the cycle don't feed algae growth. And then after the cycle is complete, consider using GFO to prevent algae if you like. Number 4 is filtration media like zeolite, which is at the core of popular programs like Zeovit. The media directly absorbs ammonia and other contaminants. In this case, the instructions explicitly state that you use the media from day one, and considering the tremendous amount of success reefers have using this system, I would just follow it exactly so you can emulate other reefers' results. So that wraps up today's FAQ. In general, I'd limit the amount of filtration media used during the cycle. However, feel free to use them after it's complete. As always, if you have any ideas for our next FAQ, let us know in the comments area down below because that's what this is all about. And if you want to join a larger conversation on this topic, check out our Reef to Reef thread. See you next week with the next BRStv 52 FAQ.